CNBC TV 18's Rituparna Bhuyan is speaking with Atul Punj, chairman of Punj Lloyd. Let's listen in.
Thank you so much. The Punj Lloyd Group has got a diversified portfolio, be it infrastructure, be it utilities, be it energy, and now the company wants to have a greater role in the defense sector as well. And to talk about the company's growth plans, we have with us the chairman of the group, Mr. Atul Punj. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Pleasure.
Let me start out with what the kind of plans that you have regarding defense. Of course, Punj Lloyd has been part of the supply chain as far as the defense sector is concerned, but now it seems that you are now getting ready to be a whole-time systems integrator, graduating to be a whole-time systems integrator in the defense sector. What are the plans as far as the defense sector is concerned, and what kind of strategy do you have to have a greater role in the defense sector?
Well, firstly, at the outset, it's not a new initiative for us. There's an initiative that has been in the works now for almost 5 years. We had actually were one of the first people to get our licenses when the government of India opened up the sector for private participation. We invested about 150 crores in a state-of-the-art facility in Malanpur, which you're familiar with. We are now looking really to be not all things to all people. We have very clear direction that we want to be tier 1 system integrator for some limited focus programs where we do have an inherent strength. And in other cases, we are happy to be tier 2, tier 3 suppliers for different programs too, whether it's HAL, the Ordnance Factory Board, or any of the other large OEMs that are looking to participate in the programs. So we have a mixed bucket of what our strategy going forward is.
We understand that you are also getting ready to restructure your defense-related segment, and shareholder approval has been sought so that you can have a proper restructuring exercise going on regarding your defense.
Yeah, that's primarily to give it more focus, to separate it out from the rest of the group and not mix it up with the EPC businesses or some of the other infrastructure spaces we are in. So to really give it a complete independent focus with completely independent management. So it is something that is looked at as a major focus area and not just another vertical within the group.
Can you give us an idea about the kind of investments that have already been made in the defense space and the kind of plans regarding investments that you have going forward in the defense sector?
Well, I think what we've done is made the core investment already in the core facility, which is to the tune of about between 180 to 200 crores, depending on which way one looks at it. So the core investment is already in place. The rest, any new investments will be made on the back of project wins. Our driver really to make this investment was that we were primarily an EPC player. And as an EPC player, you go to a potential partner and you say, I also want to play defense. The question will come to what do you bring to the table?
Right.
Which is why we, over the last 5 years, invested this money in a facility which is really second to none on a global level. We have invested this time in training our people, getting all the certification that are done, including for all the aerospace activities. So we've really positioned ourselves now where we've gone through the learning curve. So I would say easily we should be a few years ahead of the competition in terms of just the time it takes to be able to be ready. So I would, I think, be bold enough to say that we are ready now to actually participate in programs and be able to stand up to the scrutiny of any potential partner, stakeholder.
Yeah, you said you are ready to have a greater role in the defense sector. Before I move on to the next question, if you can just give us an idea regarding the outlook on investments regarding defense, the defense segment.
Well, as I said, defense, the additional investments will be made on the back of wins of projects. So, for example, if we have a series of bids that we put in and we find that we are going to be successful, for which we need to put in some balancing equipment as the core investment is already in place, that will happen on the back of it. So over a period of time, if we think this will be a $1 billion or a $2 billion business over the next 5-year period, okay, the investments would really be commensurate with exactly what is the value add that we are bringing to the table. If we are only doing an integration job, then it is really an accumulation of various suppliers to our design, okay, that we will be putting, in which case you're not talking about large investments.
Right.
But if it is pure play manufacturing that is done, and some balancing equipment needs to go in. As I said, we are being very selective about what we bid on. We are not trying to be all things to all people.
Right. I'll come to the topic regarding the kind of bids that you have put in. But before that, it's interesting to see the kind of portfolio that you have regarding your defense business. You have basically presence in the land systems as well as aerospace as of now. But it's interesting to see that you also have certain industrial licenses in the naval sector, and the Indian Navy has embarked on a huge, indigenization drive. It's a 15-year program. You already have a license. So in the future, do we also see Punj Lloyd participating in Navy-related contracts?
I don't believe that we will be participating as a tier 1 vendor in the naval contracts. Our capacity at our plant, as you've seen, is that we can do up to a 40-foot or 12-meter long single-piece 5-axis machining. That gives us very large single-piece capability, which really is not prevalent in the country. So as a result of which, when we go to tier 1 suppliers, they are very, very keen to buy some of these large size components which are relevant to the shipbuilding business from us. And we're already executing some large piece orders from Fincantieri as an example. We see a lot more work coming from them as well. So the focus on the naval side will really be around our machining capability, which is relevant to the naval industry.
Right, sir. In the aerospace sector, you have presence in the MRO space. How has that business been, and what kind of growth opportunities do you see in the MRO space?
That has really been a strategic stroke financial investment that was made. We are one of the investors in the MRO. It is not that we are the dominant players there. We have a bunch of partners in there. It gives us a leg into a lot of the potential MRO support services that will be required for all aviation platforms going forward.
Right.
So we have our runway, we have our hangars, we have multiple locations, we have a lot of capability. So that puts us in a sweet spot as far as the after-sales support that is required for a lot of these aviation platforms going forward.
You also have some industrial licenses regarding the defense aerospace segment, if I'm correct. So what kind of plans do you have as far as the defense aerospace segment is concerned?
Well, that is it's an evolving space. We can have plans, but if there is not enough, there are no bids coming out for us to participate in. So as and when the opportunities arise, at least we have our licensing in place, so we don't need to go through that process to be able to participate in a program, and we'll take that call as and when the bids come out.
Let's talk about your land systems engagement, and you have a fairly established capacity as far as the land systems are concerned. You are one of the 2 shortlisted bidders for the ZU-23 anti-aircraft gun upgrade program. What can you tell us about that program, and when do you expect the financial bids to open, and what kind of opportunity do you see in that program?
Well, we were informed that we are now we're in the last round, and I think it's up to the MOD when they decide to open the price bids. It's impossible for me to put a date on that. We hope it will be sooner than later, because we do see that there is a lot of, not urgency, but there is the kind of speed that should have been there in the past now in the defense sector. So I think we're going to see, there's already been a large number of clearances, and we hope that this program will fall within that.
How did you develop capacity regarding this, ZU-23, because it's a platform which is existing, it has to be upgraded. So how did you go about, adding capacity regarding this system?
Well, as I said, 5 years ago when we started making our investments in this particular space, it was not just in the hardware, but it's also on the soft side. So we have the right people, we have the right partners, and we really put together a group which we felt was appropriate to provide the right solution to the forces.
What is the size of this particular program?
The first phase, I suspect, should be sub 450 crores. So I won't volunteer to give you a more accurate number.